You can't be discovered if you stay hidden.
Educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work, an award-winning podcast where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here's your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
I thank you for tuning in today. So here is the thing that I really would like to talk to you about today, because the idea is that you can't be discovered if you stay hidden. And I can understand that, because I was challenged not too long ago about being the best podcaster or a very good podcaster out there that no one knew about. And so sometimes we have this idea, right, that if they build it, they will come. But how do you know that if you don't put yourself out there? So that idea of build it, they will come, it has some flaws in that perception. It has some flaws in that idea. Because unfortunately, just because you put yourself out there does not mean, or because you created this, does not mean that someone's going to find you. And so I use this podcast for an example. It took 2 years before I was really seen. And I've been doing this for 6. Well, this show for 6, altogether 7. And so what happened is someone challenged me, like really, really challenged me. And that was a very hard thing to do, to hear, to go through, to consider, because sometimes you think you're doing the best job you can, but then all of a sudden you realize there's a little bit more you can do. And so because I from my own perspective, I wanted to stay hidden to some degree. My mind says, hey, I'm more of a behind the scenes type person. And I'm used to helping organizations out and just being a consultant, and they are the face and doing X, Y, and Z. But when it comes to your own things, you can't take that same approach. And so what happened is, for myself, I had to put myself in a position that was very, very uncomfortable. Now, in that space, what happens is you sit down and you start to wonder and contemplate, how can I become better? How can I be seen? Now, here is the idea before I say what happened once I put myself out there. And all of you know. But people often say someone could have gotten lucky. But when in reality, they, just like myself, was just simply seen. So visibility creates more surface area for opportunities to land. The idea is, whether it's a post, a pitch, or a presence in the right room, your consistency and visibility invite opportunities. So what I had done, or what I had considered, was putting myself into opportunities that otherwise I would not have been in. Or I saw myself in. So I had decided that I was going to start to interview individuals. Now, if you listen to the very first season, I was interviewing people in the very first season, but those individuals were my friends. Now, that doesn't mean that wasn't valuable. That doesn't mean that there weren't opportunities. But here's what the challenge is in that. Some of the challenges are the friends that you might speak to, are technically friends of yours on other levels as well. So so the friends that friend that you interviewed, more than likely you and that friend has very similar friends. And so in all reality, has your show, i.e. this podcast, was it able to grow because our friends were already listening to the show. So even though I interviewed an individual, to some degree, I was already speaking to their market. And so I had to put myself in another position to grow. I had to use another platform, or more than one platform, to be honest, start putting myself out there. And so with that being said, now I am in a position to grow. I'm in position for other people to hear me. I'm in a position to now make an impact, or the desired impact I would like to make. So now we're going to start to interview other individuals and start speaking to them in their market, which now puts you in a different place. And with me interviewing these other individuals in other markets, so let's understand this. Putting myself in those positions has allowed this podcast to grow to the top 5% in the world per listennotes.com. We'll say it again. We are in the top 5% in the world based on listennotes.com. And with that being said, we have been able to utilize that idea, that concept, the what comes with that, because a lot of that helps you with your confidence. A lot of that says, hey, I am truly making an impact on the world. So now, are you able to grow because now you have something that, on paper at least, says you're doing a pretty good job? These individuals across the world have shared, have liked, has subscribed, or whatever. And so I was able to see this podcast being the top 100 in entrepreneurship in Belgium, in Denmark, in Canada, because of the influence that the individuals that I have interviewed, I have been able to see some relative growth in this podcast. And so you have to get outside of your circle in order for you to have these opportunities. You need to be visible. And so here's some ways to implement that. So you can post some of your wins that you have. A win could be being the top 5% in the world. A win could be winning an award. A win could mean being nominated for an award. A win could be just talking to someone else outside of your normal network. A win could be just a matter of you just picking up the microphone to begin with. Because a lot of times we have to look, we think of the big things. If you notice, I went from very, very big, or where it appeared to be big, to something that's really basic, because a lot of times we lose track of the basic part. And those are wins by itself, of picking up the microphone and being consistent. You can also share some of your behind the scenes progresses. You could have valuable insights on platforms like Instagram and LinkedIn and, in other communities that are relevant to what you're speaking about, what you're doing. So I encourage you to consider how you're putting yourself out there in this world. I want you to consider how you are making a change or impact to your community. I want you to consider how you can share these moments, because guess what? You cannot be discovered if you're hidden. Also, attend and participate in virtual or in-person events, especially those that are aligned with your goals. And also, in order for you to be seen, ask the question, speak up, introduce yourself. See, I have a client where, as I'm speaking to them and I introduce them to a Facebook group, and then they had the opportunity to now talk to these people across the world. They're like, Maurice, if it wasn't for you, other people wouldn't know my name. So sometimes you don't know what opportunities will be laid out there for individuals, not just yourself, but those that are around you. And those are wins as well. So you can't get to your next stage in life if you continue to stay hidden. I'll talk to you a little bit later.
Thanks for listening. Follow Maurice Chisholm on social media to stay connected and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work. Or will it?